Here is our agenda screen. Over to Erica.
Thanks, Lisa. So I'll go over the agenda for today. We'll review a little bit about the Inuit Art Foundation and the Ontario Arts Council. We'll do an overview of the Indigenous Visual Artists Materials program info. We'll touch on what's eligible, who can apply, and the recommender process. Ooh, someone's joining. We'll do an overview on how to apply, online applications in Nova. We'll do a demo on that, what you'll need to submit, and we'll do an overview of other OAC grants that are available to you. And one of those is the Career Catalyst, and then Indigenous Arts Projects and other granting programs. And then we'll make time for Q&A at the end.
Perfect. So I'll start off by giving a little background of the Inuit Art Foundation. Excuse me if this sounds a little formal. So as the only national organization dedicated to supporting Inuit artists in all media and geographic areas, the IAF has sought to empower and support Inuit artists' self-expression and self-determination while increasing the public's access and awareness of artists' work for more than 31 years. For over 3 decades, the IAF's flagship program has been the award-winning Inuit Art Quarterly, which focuses on the arts and artists of Inuit Nanangat. It's the only publication dedicated to the advancement and appreciation of Inuit and circumpolar Indigenous arts, and is widely considered one of the most significant voices for Indigenous art in the world. The IAQ's reach includes the print publication, the IAQ Online, and the IAQ Profiles. The IAF also manages the iconic Igloo tag trademark, which has been protecting Inuit artists from fraud and cultural appropriation since 1958. And grants such as the Kanuiwak Ashivak Memorial Award and the Watt Scholarship to ensure Inuit voices are amplified and lead discussions of Inuit art. We are very happy to be collaborating with the OAC, the Ontario Arts Council, on this workshop and the Indigenous Visual Arts Materials programs, and we're looking forward for more partnerships in the future. Off to Lisa.
Thank you, Allison. Now about the Ontario Arts Council. We are the arts funding agency of the Ontario Ministry of Heritage, Sport, Tourism and Culture Industries, and we've been around doing this work since 1963, or at least the OAC has, working to support the creation and production of art for the benefit of all Ontarians. And the main way we do that is through grant programs in all artistic disciplines, including visual arts and craft, dance, literature, media arts, multi-arts, theater, literature, and music. And I wanted to let you know that OAC has identified a number of priority groups for our funding programs, and they are Indigenous artists, artists of color, Francophone artists, deaf artists and artists with disabilities, new generation artists ages 18 to 30, and artists living in regions outside Toronto. So keep in mind that even though we're focusing our session today on the IVAM program, which is specifically for Indigenous artists, and we have other programs specifically for Indigenous artists, you are welcome to apply to programs across the Ontario Arts Council. And these priority groups are part of all of our programs, not just the one we're covering today or the ones that are specifically for Indigenous artists. And now over to Erica.
Thanks, Lisa. I guess we'll be passing it.
Yeah.
the presentation. So we'll do an overview over the Indigenous Visual Artists Materials grant. We'll do the purpose and who can apply. So these are small grants. You can apply for $500 or $1,000 to help you with the cost of creating your artwork. This includes buying arts materials, small tools to make and produce your work. So who can apply? This program supports Ontario-based First Nations, Inuit and Métis artists working in the visual arts, crafts, or traditional customary Indigenous art forms to create artwork. So I'm going to go over what it means to be an artist. So this is someone who has developed skills through practice or training, is recognized by artists working in the same artistic tradition, has a history of public presentation or publication, seeks payment for their work, and actively practices their art. An artist is determined a professional based on what they've shared in their application. We ask that you submit a resume and bio that shares your artistic experiences, inspirations, and skills. And we ask that you provide examples of your work. For small people from smaller communities, this could be public presentation or publication. Does not necessarily mean you're sharing your work in institutions connected to the arts like galleries, theaters, or concert halls. It can mean regular participating in craft shows, powwow craft sales, and include the delivery of arts and cultural workshops in the community. You do not have to be a full-time artist, as we recognize this is not always possible. We recognize that many artists need to hold other jobs in order to survive and support their families. So that's a little bit of an overview of the program, and we'll go into what forms of art and craft are supported through the IVAM program. So these grants supports artists working in contemporary art or craft practices, and listed above are the types of art forms we can support. As you can see, there's a wide range of artistic activities such as beading, birch bark work, carving, jewelry, metalwork, sculpture, textile art. If there's something that's not included on this list, please reach out to us to see if your work is eligible to receive support from the IVAM program. And Allison, I'll pass it on to you.
So this program is wide open for artists. Whatever you're interested in creating, everything from, we've supported everything from contemporary installation work to sealskin moccasin making. I just saw a question pop up. So actually that is included. If you have any more questions about that or want to learn more, please feel free to ask in the Q&A or reach out via email. But it's important that everyone knows that we want to support you for whatever you need.
All right. So, what can the grant support, and what can the grant money be used for? So the grant can cover things like artist materials and small tools to make your artwork, and as well as delivery and shipping costs, materials for workshops for you to take a workshop, or supplies for you to run a workshop. You can also apply for travel costs for you to gather your materials. So an example of that would be, you need to rent a truck to, go gather teepee poles. So that would be sort of an example. We can pay for those types of expenses, gas, and just expenses for travel related to getting what you need or gathering what you might need. So a few other examples are paint and canvas, inks, carving tools, photo printing supplies, hides, paper, soapstone, etc. Costs related to traveling to gather materials. This could include costs associated to hunting for hides and ammunition. Small tools are eligible. Some examples of what artists have applied for in the past are cameras, sewing machine, iPads for digital illustration, and software licensing fees. Keep in mind what's not eligible. We cannot support large capital purchases, expenses for framing, marketing, website costs, but marketing and website costs sometimes are eligible in other granting programs at the OAC. So please call us and we can have a conversation of how we can support those activities. Also, commercial production lines where someone else is making the artwork, that is not eligible. You'd have to be the maker of the work for it to be eligible. So what's in an application? For this program, we try to keep it very streamlined. It's not meant to be intimidating, and we'll kind of I'll go over, do an overview of what you'll need for an application. So you'll need to have images of your artwork. You'll also need to gather information about yourself as an artist, and you'll want to include information on where you are from. How did you learn to make art? What kind of art do you make? What materials do you use? What inspires you? Where have you sold or shown your artwork? Please locate and describe your relationship to your Indigenous community and heritage, whether it be as ancestral or a physical place, a reserve, an urban community, or a Métis settlement, or Inuit community, or if you've been affected by displacement. This could be 60 Scoop, residential school experience, and intergenerational issues as well. Provide some background information about yourself as an artist. Describe how long you have been creating your art and how you learned your art form. Some of that might be self-taught, some of that might be through mentorship, or some of that might be through formal education. If you have an artist CV, you can upload that as well as with your bio and your support material. Please provide information on what you're going to make. So this is pretty much your project idea. So what are you going to make with the grant? And try and be as specific as you can. As specific and clear and straightforward as can is what we are asking you to do with this application. So what are the materials you will need? Is there a theme or inspiration to the project? How many artworks will you be making with the support of the funds? If you get the grant, you will have to submit a brief report in Nova, and Nova is our online granting platform, which Candace will bring you through a short demo on how to use Nova. If you need more time, you can request an extension to your final report. So please reach out to us with any questions about this. Once you've reported on the grant you received, you can apply again the following year. If you have to complete the project, you have to complete the project within 2 years of receiving the grant. So that just gives you an idea of the timeline. Yeah, Allison, I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks, Erica. Yeah, just on the IAF's end, we just also wanted to mention that if you have an IAQ profile on our website, an artist bio, we can help out with anything you might need for creating your bio or having an artist CV resume. So that's something we can assist with on our end. So if that's something you need, you can always reach out to Heather Campbell for assistance with that.
All right. So I'll do a little bit. So we are happy to be working with the Inuit Art Foundation as a new recommender for Inuit, specifically for Inuit artists. So if you're not Inuit, we ask you not to apply to the Inuit Art Foundation and to look to other some of the other recommenders that we have. This is our second year working in partnership with the foundation, and we hope to continue working with you guys in the coming years to support Inuit artists. Please note that the foundation's application deadline is coming up on December 10th at 1 p.m. And then here's the list of the other recommenders that we work with that is involved in the IVAM program. So we have the Anemki Art Collective. They're based out of Fort William First Nation, based in Northwestern Ontario. Mito Hatanakwe Ongwe Owe Native Arts. So sorry, I didn't do that justice, I'm sure, but they're based out in Niagara Falls, and they've been a long-time recommender with us at the OAC. The Ojibwe Cultural Foundation, based in Manitoulin Island, with Wikwemekwan Tourism, also based in Manitoulin Island, and then Woodland Cultural Center, which is based out of Brantford. The program is open each year from July through to January. A recommender, just to kind of give you a little bit of information of what that means, is a third party recommender. We bring them on. They're like Indigenous organizations that we designate to assess grant applications from Indigenous artists for this program. Recommenders assess applications and submit grant recommendations to the OAC. For the IVAM program, the Ontario Arts Council partners with 6 Indigenous arts organizations who I've mentioned, who receive and review the applications, and they also make the grant recommendations. The OAC allocates each recommender a budget to work with each year. So there is a limited budget that they are working within.
All right, thanks, Erica. So on this slide, we kind of break down at the IAF how it works with our IVAM evaluation criteria. So essentially what we have is an external jury of all Inuit who will get the applications and review and make those decisions and then bring that to the IAF, and we will also bring that along to the OAC. And listed here is the criteria that the jury will use to review the applications. These are also posted on our website if you want to, bounce back and take a look at these at another time. The highest weight you can see out of 50 there is on artistic merit, and that's really where a big part of the decision making comes from. After that, it's viability and the outcome, how you're going to get there, and then the quality of the application, how much care and time you put into the application. So you can kind of see with the artistic merit, we get to see the quality of your work, support materials, previous works. It gives us an idea of your practice, the viability and the outcome of the project, how clear and concise that is, and how you plan to get there. And then the quality, like I said, just giving as much clear information for the jury to review. It doesn't have to be perfect. We very much are just focusing on trying to make this as easy as possible with the OAC. And you can see the OAC tries to make it as easy as possible for people, because applying for grants can be intimidating, and we're trying to make that less so. And just to give a brief idea on how these scores work, the scoring helps with the ranking of the applications, and then the funding is allocated. And essentially we try to fund as many applicants as we possibly can until the funding runs out. I think that covers everything on this slide, so I'll pass it back to Erica.
All right. So, and now on to the practical info on how to apply online in NOVA, OAC's granting system. First, have a look at the program information available on our website, www.arts.on.ca, and then move into NOVA to create your personal profile in order to apply and access the applications online. I will also quickly mention that the OAC offers accessibility funds to help artists who are deaf or have disabilities with completing an application or to carry out a project. Please reach out to us and we'll help you and provide more information to you about that process. Now I'll pass it over to Candace to give you who'll be giving you a NOVA demo.
All right, thank you, Erica. Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen now. Can you, that thumbs up, everyone sees it? Good, yeah, okay, great. All right, so here is the OAC webpage. Just give me a second, I'm just gonna. sorry, just give me 1 second. I'm just trying to pull something up. Okay. Right, so here we go. I'm going to do a quick run through of our application registration process and the application itself for the grant. So here I'm on the Ontario Arts Council webpage. And to get to NOVA, you'll just click on this red button here to the right of the search bar that reads Apply Now. Oh, sorry, I need to log out. So here is what the NOVA homepage looks like. And if you're new to OAC, you will need to click on the red button that says register here to create an account. So I'm just going to go through this process just so that you can see what this looks like. So here, this first question here is just to see if you've registered for a NOVA account before, but maybe you don't remember, maybe it was quite some time ago. If you're not sure, you can always reach out to me and I can always double check to see if you are in our system as well already. So here we'll just say, did you apply? So for the sake of this, we'll just say no. And so the next part here of the registration is you'll need to input your first and last name that'll appear on your check if you're awarded a grant. You'll also need to fill out your chosen preferred name, which could be the same, fill out your email, and then you would also need to read these and then just click on this box to confirm that you read and agreed to the terms and conditions of access. You would click I'm not a robot, which sounds silly, I know, but it's like a security feature. And then you would click on submit. And so once you submit, you'll receive an email to the one that you've registered with. And here, this is an example of what that email would look like. So it says, welcome to NOVA. And it says, thank you for your online registration. And you'll have a link here. You'll click on this link, and this would take you to the NOVA homepage, and it'll ask you to create a password. And so once you create that password, you'll be taken to our NOVA homepage that looks like this. And so if you're new to OAC and you set up a new account, you will need to complete one more step before you go onto the application. And so you would need to go to profile here at the top right and click update profile. Here you'll see the information you inputted when you registered. You'll see your first and last name and the email here when you registered. Everywhere you see this red asterisk, which is looks like a red star, is all the mandatory fields you need to complete. So you would need to click on the preferred language, your permanent address, and your mailing address. And there's also optional fields here. You can fill out your phone number and also share your social media, which can include maybe you have a Facebook page for your art or a Twitter page or a website. So you could include that information here. And then here you would go at the bottom here, you would click, have you ever logged into NOVA before? And again, you would say no. You would press save here at the bottom. And you'll also see to the right of this, when you start a new page, the word activate. And so once you input all this information, you would click activate, and that will activate your profile, which basically just means we needed your address. So in case you're awarded a grant, we would mail your check to the address you have on file. So just make sure that's always up to date. So once the profile is activated, you would click back again to home, which is on the top right here. So you click on that. So to the left, you'll see here says funding opportunities. So here are all the programs at OAC that are currently accepting applications. So there's a few of them open right now. So here we'll go to the Indigenous Visual Artists Materials. On to the right here, you'll see this red button called Details. When you click on that, it'll take you to the webpage for the grant, the Indigenous Visual Artists Materials, and it'll give you the purpose of the grant, the sort of important information of what is eligible, what does it fund, what is not fund. So you could go through that just to, if you needed more information. And what you'll also find here is also my contact information. So you'll find my email, and this is also my direct phone number. And then you could also call this toll-free number, and our receptionist will pick up and you just ask her to speak to Candace and she'll direct you to my line. So yeah, we'll go back to the NOVA homepage. And so here we'll go back to funding opportunities, Indigenous Visual Arts Materials, and we'll click on this red button to the right of details and apply. So we'll read and confirm the above statements. So we'll click here, and then we'll click on this red button, apply. And then we'll say continue to application. So, and it's just loading. Okay, here we go. Here is the long-awaited application for the grant. And I promise you, I know that the first 2 steps was kind of, it was a bit of a process, but once you get through that part, you won't have to go through it again. And so here's the application itself. You will need to, so here you'll see that this status here says it's a draft. This deadline is for the Indigenous Visual Arts Materials 2021 to 2022. And to the bottom of that, you'll see your name. And then once you go a little further down, you'll see in the middle here, there's like these profile, recommender, project information. These are the tabs of the application itself. So right now we're clicked onto profile. So here's all the information that we would have inputted. And we just want to review and just make sure that it's all correct. Again, this is in case if you're awarded, we want to make sure that the check name is in the name that it needs to be in, and that the address is correct so that when we're mailing it, it's going to your address. So once that's all good, we'll click beside this profile here was kind of in the middle of the page. We'll click on recommender. So here's where you would choose which recommender you'd like to have review your application. So here, these are 5 of the 6 recommenders that are currently accepting application. MNEMKI just had a deadline last month, so that is why they're not on this list. So for the sake of this, we'll click on Inuit Art Foundation, and then it'll load. And there you go, Inuit Art Foundation is clicked. And so I recommend that you click Save Draft after each section, as NOVA does not save as you go. And this is also just in case, say, if you lose internet connection or something happens and you step away from the computer, this way the information you input will be saved and not lost. And before I move on to the application, I also just want to talk quickly about this button here to the right of Save Draft called Validate Application. So this button will go through the whole application to make sure you have completed each section in order to submit the application. I will click on the button now and you'll see, I'll show you what it does. So we'll click on it now and it just takes a second to load, and here it goes. So at the top here, you'll see submission failed due to the following. And so the list is quite long because we just started the application. But when you click, so it'll say like project title cannot be empty, and you're like, oh no, I forgot. So you just click on it and it'll take you to the part of the application that needs to be completed before you can submit. So that's kind of just, I just wanted to show that really quickly. So here, like, what are you planning to do? Where is that? Oh, and it takes you right to that. So I just wanted to show what that looks like. So I'll go back. So we did the recommender, we saved draft. So we're gonna click, before we move on, we save draft. So we're on recommend. We'll go to project information. Here is where you'll fill out your project title. And below that is project summary. We have the project category. So you would pick either if you're requesting for $500 or if you're requesting $1,000. You would pick the artistic discipline. So the main artistic discipline involved with your project. So you could be craft or visual arts. And lastly, on this page, you would need to pick the end date of your project. So here you can enter it, you can just enter it, or you could also just click on that calendar icon and click the project end date through here. So you could go through it like this. You can change the year by that. So we'll just click that. And again, we'll just save draft. So next to the project information, we have accessibility fund, which Erica spoke a little bit about earlier, and you can request project accessibility support directly from here, and you would just click on this button and then complete the information needed. And then that's this part of the application. And then beside accessibility fund, we'll go to artistic merit. And here is those 2 questions that Erica and Allison kind of talked a little bit about, of like, you know, talking a little bit about yourself. And here you'll see that each question has a maximum word limit. So here at the top, just at the end of the first question, it says maximum 300 words. And so here's the text box. So you could be writing your answer. And then if you wanted to know, oh, how much room do I have left, here at the bottom, it'll let you know 300 words left, and it'll let you know as you type through. And again, once you do that, you would save draft. And you fill out those 2 questions. So next to artistic merit is support material. So you would click on that. Here's where here you will be uploading a minimum of 3 images of your artwork. So in order to upload your photos, you'll need to click on the red button that's right here under digital image file upload. So you'll click on that red button and a pop-up window will appear. You'll click on this red button here, the red folder button to the bottom left. Here I have some images that I'm going to upload. These are test images, but also these are my artwork, some of the beadwork that I've done. So I'm just going to, that's a shameless plug, I know. But I'm just gonna open up here. And so there it is. So once it's uploaded, you'll see here it uploaded, and then you'll just exit out of this pop-up window. And your photos will show up here under the photo library. So under each photo, you'll see this here. It says edit required information. You can click on that. And we just ask that you kind of fill out some of the, like, give us a little more details of the artwork that you've uploaded. So here, the year that it was made, so 2021, sort of the, you know, who made this art. So if it's yours, you would write artist, and then just a little description. So here you could write like earrings, and then the dimensions as well, just so that we know what it looks like. And then we'll just click here, we'll just click save. And here you'll see at the bottom of that first photo where I completed that information, there it says year 2021, artist, and you could do the same for the other images. So below this, you'll also, you can also complete this section if you'd like, to just describe how these artistic examples relate to your application. And that's a maximum of 150 words. And if you go further down, there's a part here that allows you to upload your resume, which is optional. So it's here, you can click on upload, and is one document PDF with a maximum of 3 pages. And so again, you can upload that if you wish. It is optional, and then you would click save draft again. So there we have completed the bulk of the application. So next to support materials is OAC statistics. So here you would just select at least one art form that applies to your project. You can select more than one if it's applicable. If you don't see your art form listed, you can scroll down and you can type in here your art form here. And so then again, you would just save draft. So next to OAC statistics is demographic information. So we would click on that. So this page here is all voluntary. So please feel free to complete the form or not. But here, this section here just lets you know how this information will be used. And it's mainly used for the purposes of OAC, and our recommenders don't see this information, and it is confidential. So I'll just scroll down so you could see some of the questions that we ask. Again, this is all voluntary, so all up to you if you wanted to fill this out. And then again, you would click Save Draft. Okay, so next to the demographic information, you would click on Declaration. Here you'll need to choose which language you're submitting your application, and we give the option of English and French. You can also share your contact information with the recommender if you like, and that's in case if they have any follow-up questions. It doesn't happen often, but it's up to you. And then once you read and agree to the terms and conditions and the application declaration, you would just click Save Draft. And then once that's all done, you've completed the application. You'd save one last time and press Submit. And that's it. I hope I hope that was helpful. And again, if you have any questions about this process, please feel free to contact me, and I would gladly help. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Candace. That was great. So yeah, please try not to be intimidated, and it's best just to kind of go through step-by-step process. And like Candace said, yeah, just reach out when you need support. That's our job and our roles here at the OAC is to support the community in applying. So I just want to make mention of, I'll let Lisa kind of go to the screen for other OAC grants that outside of IVAM that you might be interested in applying to. So I manage the Indigenous Arts Projects Program and the Indigenous Artists and Communities in Schools. If you're living in Northern Ontario, you could apply to the Northern Arts Projects Program. There's a skills and career development for Indigenous arts professionals and artist professionals of color. There's also the Craft Projects Program and Visual Artists Creation Projects Program. So just kind of wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of other programs you can apply to, and you don't have to just stick to the granting program specifically for Indigenous artists. And I would suggest to go through our program webpage, and there are other grants that you might be of interest to you. And then we have a new one that has just come up, and I'll let Lisa do an overview of that for you.
Great, thank you. Yes, I'm not on mute. Okay, so this program, Career Catalyst, is fresh off the I guess drawing board. It just announced. It's a brand new one-time program for artists ages 18 to 30 to help you artists develop and build career momentum at a crucial stage while we're in the period of pandemic recovery. The deadline is coming up quite quickly, December 16th. So I really encourage those of you who are in this age group to get your application in, or to help, and hopefully I can ask you to help spread the word to pass the information along to other young artists who might be interested. And once you've gone through the process of applying for the IVAM grant, as Candace so amazingly demoed, you'll have the profile, you'll be really familiar with NOVA, and you can just jump into NOVA and apply to this one as well. So that's an important point. You are eligible to apply to both this one and IVAM. So in terms of Career Catalyst, the grants are $2,000. They're no partial grants, and they are specifically for artists ages 18 to 30. So you have to be that age at the time that you are submitting the grant application. This program is set up in recognition that so many young artists right now are facing barriers to gaining experience as professional artists and securing support for their work in this really competitive art environment. We also think that this program is a good way to hopefully provide a first point of entry for artists who might be new to OAC, or perhaps artists who've had limited access to public funding. You can use the grant for marketing your artistic work to audiences or to presenters. You can use it to upgrade your studio or workspace, and you could, including purchase of or rental of equipment. You can upgrade technology for your artistic practice. That includes software or hardware. You can use this for developing your website. So that is something that that's not eligible in the other program and is here. One thing that is interesting is this program also can help you purchase materials and supplies. So you can apply for this one as well for that, some of the same costs that are eligible in IVAM. And you can take on costs that help you with training or training in your practice. You can pay a mentor or consultant or an instructor to help you. I'll say we have just announced this program, but we also hope really soon that we'll have more exciting new opportunities to share, because our ministry just made an announcement about substantial new funding for Indigenous artists. So stay tuned for more information on other upcoming programs, and we'll definitely be in touch and ask Inuit Art Foundation to help us get the word out. And on this slide, we've included all of our contact information. And in particular, I'll mention Heather Campbell is the contact for Inuit Art Foundation, as Allison mentioned earlier. She's away today, but is your go-to person at the foundation. And we've also included the OAC contact information. Hopefully you'll feel like we are friendly and totally available to help you out as you're working on your grant applications, or just want to contact us to figure out which programs, other than the ones we've talked about, which other programs might be available for you.